I met this guy at the gym back when I was still powerlifting. He was doing pull-ups, the full pull-ups with the kind of smooth, controlled movement that made it look effortless. Which would have been impressive enough if he'd been 30, but he was like 76 years old. I was struggling through my own workout, having one of those internal arguments we all have when we're trying to do something our body would rather not do. My body was making a compelling case for cutting things short. This is hard. You're tired. You did enough yesterday. When he finished his set, I had to ask, and I looked up at him to ask as I was literally lying on the floor, resting between sets, "How do you do it?" He grinned and said something that stopped me cold. "Listen to your body," he said, "but remember, it lies." I stared at him. He continued, "Your body speaks in many voices, some wise, some fearful, some lazy, some protective. The trick isn't just listening, it's learning to interpret," he said, toweling off. He told me about his friends, guys his age who'd stopped moving because they listened to only one of their body's voices, the one that said, "This is hard, let's not." Meanwhile, he'd learned to hear the fuller conversation. "Yes, this is hard, and this hardness is what keeps me strong." I started paying more attention to my own body's different dialects after that. These days, it's less about gym workouts and more about the daily negotiations around walking, biking, writing, reading. Like this morning, my body woke up, sort of, and immediately started the usual negotiations. "You're too tired. You can sleep in a little bit. Rest is important too." All of this, of course, is technically true. But which voice was speaking? The voice of wisdom that knows when I genuinely need recovery? Or the voice of comfort that would happily keep me in bed until noon? Sometimes my body whispers stop because continuing would genuinely break something. Other times it shouts stop simply because change is uncomfortable. It begs for rest when rest would heal, but also when rest would weaken. It craves sugar for quick energy, but also for emotional comfort that has nothing to do with actual hunger. My brother-in-law figured out his own version of this wisdom. I don't think he loves exercise the way his wife does. She's one of those people who genuinely enjoys the endorphin rush, the challenge, the whole thing. But he's learned to translate his body's daily negotiations into future tense. When his body says, "Skip the stretch class, have another coffee," he hears the echo of those choices yet to come. That coffee isn't just competing with today's 40-minute class, it's competing with next year's cycling tour through Europe. Those 60 minutes of stretching aren't just about today's mild discomfort, they're about whether he'll be able to get off the floor easily when he's 80. The body speaks in the present tense. Rest now, move now, eat now, stop now. But we have to learn to answer in the future tense. Stretch today to explore tomorrow. Build strength this year to have freedom in the next. This got really interesting when I started applying it beyond physical movement. My body also lies about productivity. It tells me I'm too tired to tackle a difficult piece of writing, but somehow have plenty of time for scrolling social media. It claims I need that afternoon snack, but what I actually need is to drink some water and acknowledge that I'm avoiding a tricky paragraph. It insists I should stay up late because I'm not tired, conveniently forgetting that tomorrow me will pay the price for tonight me's poor judgment. The more I listen, the more I realize my body runs a very sophisticated public relations campaign. It always has a reasonable sounding excuse for avoiding discomfort. It's particularly good at reframing laziness as self-care and procrastination as taking a break. And here's what I've learned. The body isn't malicious. It's just optimized for a different world than the one we live in. It's designed for immediate survival, not long-term thriving. It's brilliant at keeping us safe from tigers, less helpful at navigating the slow burn challenges of modern life. That gym sage taught me that working with your body is like being in a long-term relationship. You learn when to trust, when to question, and when to kindly disagree. You develop the ability to hear what's really being said underneath what's being asked for. When my body says I'm tired, I've learned to ask, tired of what? And tired enough to do what? Sometimes the answer is genuine fatigue that needs rest. Sometimes it's boredom that needs stimulation. Sometimes it's emotional exhaustion masquerading as physical tiredness. That 76-year-old was doing pull-ups because he'd learned to distinguish between his body saying, This is challenging and I'm working hard versus this is damaging and I need to stop. One voice leads to strength, the other to injury. Both are important, but they require completely different responses. His friends had stopped listening for the difference. They heard this is hard and interpreted it as this is bad, so they stopped. He heard this is hard and learned to ask hard in a good way or hard in a dangerous way. Most of the time, it was hard in a good way. I think about this every time I'm negotiating with my body now. When it says too tired to write, is that genuine mental fatigue that needs rest or resistance to doing something challenging? When it suggests I skip my walk because it's too cold, am I protecting myself or just avoiding discomfort? Because here's the thing that the gym sage understood. Comfort isn't always comfortable in the long run. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for your body is to not give it everything it asks for in the moment. After all, a good relationship requires boundaries, even when that relationship is one you're in with yourself.